Alright guys, TechRub here, back again today. Hope you're all enjoying your Saturday. Today, a few interesting topics I wanted to cover. Things surrounding the CDL and Infinity Ward's changes they are looking to make for the upcoming season, but also some cheating that's been going on in the Gamebattles community. Not something we talk about a lot on this channel, the whole Gamebattles side of the scene, but it's something that I haven't played of much in Modern Warfare because I don't particularly enjoy the game, but it's something I've played a lot of in the past, and there's a lot of issues that have really gone around for a number of years now that seem to only be exacerbating about cheaters and people, abusing the system effectively on the main ladder. That's what I wanted to discuss today, but first of all, before we get into that, I wanted to say a massive thank you to Draftbuff for sponsoring today's video. I wanted to take a few seconds here just to talk through what they can offer in the scene, especially given that Modern Warfare may not be the most enjoyable game to watch on its own. Maybe you need something else to be thinking about when watching the game to keep you entertained, and one of those opportunities is, of course, fantasy esports. You guys may do this in other sports as well, where effectively you choose players that you think are good value for money, so every player based on how good it's presumed they will do and on past performance in the weekend based on certain criteria. They will have a ranking. You can then create your team based on certain roles for players you think will do very well in the upcoming weekend or the upcoming season, however exactly it's going to be done, and then if you perform well and if those players perform well, then your team can do great, you can win your league, and there's some decent prizes up for grabs, tends to be. But hopefully we're going to get to a point, I believe right now you can only have, if you create a league for yourself, there can only be 8 players in it. Maybe there's some other opportunities we can explore there with Draftbuff, but regardless, I think it'd be an excellent thing to download. I've certainly got it sorted, so you can either go through the website or download it. Maybe it's easier to just download the app through the App Store and Google Play. The guys at Draftbuff are constantly working harder to make the app experience as best as it can be. So if you guys are interested, I think it's a great thing to do and something I'm very happy to promote. So let's move on to the topic of discussion for today. Wanted to mention, first of all, I talked yesterday about the Chicago Huntsmen and the campaign that's going on and this series that the Call of Duty League has started up. On closer inspection, looking at the description box, you find this: welcome to the campaign, the documentary series that chronicles the CDL preseason through the story of a single team determined to win it all. What does that mean? This is a pre-season campaign episode series, but it's also a single team in the Chicago Huntsmen. This is something that I was hoping to avoid in a way. I wouldn't want to come from the situation where OpTic Gaming has been the biggest team, then straight into a situation where the Huntsmen's already the biggest team, but the Call of Duty League is the ones that are helping promote them, helping them get bigger. Hopefully in the upcoming season we'll see other series that go on throughout the season and weave through the season with other teams. That's something that I'm hopeful for. But I can understand the reason why they've gone down this route with the Chicago Huntsmen, of course, for the first time. Video link to that down in the description box below, as always. Firstly then, so the Team Divine, proud to announce our Call of Duty Minnesota Open roster. Destiny Noobs, Gingeroid Theory, and Twiz, so DM Theory managing to make it back. I think he talked about a while ago how he was, considering his options in Call of Duty, maybe moving into a coaching, management kind of position. Seems to change his mind on that one. He's back in the game. We'll have to see how they finish up at Minnesota Open because there's a lot of money to be won. I'm pretty sure it's a $250,000 prize pool, and that's for the open side of things. Really big deal. A lot of money on the line for the amateur guys. Good thing to see, to be honest. A lot of teams are still interested in the amateur scene to try and get back into pro play. That's obviously the grassroots of Call of Duty has been something that's been massive for our scene over the ages, and probably tomorrow I might talk about a little bit more on that topic, as ESPN talked about whether this game is currently esports ready, and well, I guess you guys can come up to the conclusion of that down in the comments section below. But this is a really interesting thing that Infinity Ward have done on Trello. I'll leave this linked down below. The developers are effectively running this website. I'd never really seen anything on this site before, but effectively any issues with the game they can log on here and they can tell you about the progress. So it's really cool to see. So the colored bars, click to see the current status of each issue. I think there was a comment on Reddit here I'll just go through. So from Canadian Tuero, once resources are made available, you schedule tickets open, which is orange. When the individual start working on the item, it's yellow. If it passes, the work is completed, it goes green. So really cool. And one thing you'll notice here, which is a pretty damn big deal, players able to capture the hardpoint while in hotels. There's some issues with the hardpoint, cruise missiles, some issues on shipment. This really is the big one that we've been talking about though. Players can cancel their recovery state while sliding. We've talked about it a lot, how over the last few days players have known about this for a long time since beta, and they've kind of been hiding it and keeping it under the radar, that you can double tap slide and then jump, and it it'll cancel your slide out animation, means you can shoot really quickly, and means you can camera the hell out of people, especially on a 12 Hz server. Not something you really want to be seeing in Call of Duty, and it does say labels fixed in a future update. So apparently this is now fixed, it's now resolved, and in a future update it's going to be all sorted with any luck. So when the update rolls out, I guess later this week, we should be seeing a fix for it, which honestly is great news given the start of the season, and I'm sure players are going to have to be switching up their playstyles maybe to some quite significant degree. And yeah, we'll have to see how this affects Dallas Empire and Atlanta FaZe, who are rumored to be the two teams that have been, I guess, using and abusing this to their maximum benefit. This was the main topic I wanted to discuss then today. So Diesel, absolute legend, of course, in the industry. Ex-OpTic Gaming, one of the old men of OpTic, as they were called. I guess they're still called. We've played against this top Gamebattles team a decent amount of times and always suspected something might be fishy. During the match, we were told about this video of another team questioning some suspect gameplay. So Diesel played against this team, and this video that I'll share with you guys, a few clips from here, was from another team that had played against this team, and it effectively is this guy reviewing a gameplay of the suspected team, and the individual that is pretty damn suspect, and I very doubt this guy's legit. A few of these clips are pretty outrageous to me. He clearly does not really understand the game to a great degree, the way his movement is working, and he's clearly a not particularly experienced player. Some of the players and some of the calls he's making to his teammates are honestly outrageous. So I wanted to share with you guys a few clips.
Get out of here, kid.
And you're here, listen to what he says.
The other two pushed A hard.
The other two pushed A hard. Not one of his teammates is over there calling out, giving any information. The guy was in the middle. There could be people anywhere in the middle. They could be doing a B rush to graveyard. But he calls out both of them pushed A hard. There was one person shooting a gun on this side of the map. That does not give any evidence whether there's two people there. But he makes the call.
A flank.
Not even saying they could be going A, they could be going B. He just says they both pushed A hard, with zero information from calls or knowing.
Get a nade over there at A.
Get a nade over there at A.
Don't nade over there.
Okay.
Oh,
look at that. Huh. Okay. Planting bomb. Here he goes. Listen to this one. This is the best part. Slow down a little bit. All right. Right there. There's nothing here. There's no foots. Nothing's here. All right. Nothing is here. Listen to what he calls out.
Pretty sure I've seen his foot come through that wall, Frank.
Pretty sure I've seen his foot come through that wall, Frank. Nothing was there.
Climb these and get on top of that wooden
Climb
foot.
these things. All right.
Look at A wall.
Let's see this one. Oh, what do you know? Guy happens to be laying down there.
Mid broken.
His body was nowhere near where it could have been peeking his foot out.
Watch mid broken. Let Frank go defuse. Defuse.
Watch
Frank.
mid broken. Frank go defuse.
Joel, just keep eye on mid broke. Where you at?
He's not looking at mid broken. I am.
You got it. It is.
Oh, okay.
He just went around it.
And there he was broken. How did he know it was the guy broken? Keep an eye on mid broken. None of his teammates made a call out. The guy could have been back B. He could have been trenches anywhere. Keep an eye on mid broken. All right. Sit here mid. Retard aiming something. And flicks up top to B. There is nothing here. And there he goes.
So as Clayster says, like, this dude is awful. He's obviously using cheats. That's why it looks so funky. He's, 100% using some sort of hack, aim lock, wall hack. Imagine crying the way he centers and looks around and saying absolute burger movement of that lad. He wall hacks two people and goes smoked him. Like, pretty incredible what's going on. And this, of course, is in addition on Gamebattles to the issue of the Zim, as it's called, right? Effectively, people were keyboarding when instead of using a controller, you use a keyboard and mouse, but you still get aim assist, which is a massive issue. We've seen this in Call of Duty for a long time. I'm not sure. It'd be difficult for me to say whether it's more of an issue now than it was in the past, because people, of course, get banned for that if it's exposed that they're actually doing it. But I guess to some degree, it's difficult to prove, especially if people are on top of things and making it look like they aren't cheating. This guy was sometimes he was pre-aiming a few things just to make it seem like he wasn't cheating, but in fact he knew where everyone was. So you've got to be a little bit careful. But otherwise, it's still a pretty depressing environment, especially given Gamebattles, of course, being a third-party service. It would be fantastic if we could use, and I don't know how he's doing this cheating, right? And this is an interesting tweet that says he's using what's called a pocket radar, where it takes the player's connection and pings it to a minimap on a second monitor. It's like radar, playing radar always on. At least that's why I think, and it's the cheapest of all the options. Most of the best ladder teams are doing that. So apparently there's some exploit that can be used here from way back in the day on even League Play Black Ops 2, people booting you off, happening in GBs across time. It's just really disappointing and hones again that we don't have a ranked play right now, which is a good way to play. Because if you're a really good Gamebattles team, Gamebattles of course is great fun to play, but if you're playing against some of the best teams in the game, you're going to be getting screwed over by guys like this, unfortunately. In ranked play, that's much less of an issue, right? And well, you would hope so. And well, it's just disappointing that we don't have that yet. Of course, last year, Black Ops 4, we only got the ranked play back in, I believe, February. It finally came out, but at least at this time last year, they were talking about it. We thought it was going to come 1st of January 2020. They talked about early January, then they said late January, then they said mid-February. Eventually, it was a little bit after mid-February, but at least we had the communication from the developers that the league play, the ranked play was coming in Black Ops 4. This game, we don't have that, and it's honestly difficult to see. Thanks for Marcus to pointing this out to me, and Rob says, so this is a guy involved with Ghost Gaming, probably should follow him, and he's obviously, Ghost Gaming have been around the scene for quite a long time, been getting a lot of Call of Duty Path to Pro teams hitting me up. I appreciate your eagerness, but there just isn't enough reasons for organizations to invest in the space. I love Call of Duty, it's where I all started back in 2012, but I don't see the amateur scene growing to a point where anyone sensible, any sensible company wants to dump money into it. Franchises sound all glorious till it kills your competitive player base. Also, let's talk about the way these teams have conducted themselves, building an infrastructure. Pretty sure the season starts this month, and I've seen zero notable content around teams and players. No stories are being told. I've seen maybe 2-3 max brands that I'd expect to be able to pull off actually selling tickets to their venues, running smooth operations at those venues. The marketing behind some of these organizations is non-existent, and it's a damn shame. And I do agree to some degree, especially on the amateur scene point, like it's so difficult to justify an investment into that unless you think your team is going to blow up. And at the point that your team does blow up, say in a midnight esports situation, I mean blow up in a good way, they play really well, the players now think that they're better than the organization and they want to get sold on elsewhere. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't as an organization right now. And yeah, definitely some interesting thoughts to discuss here, especially about the marketing, right? The league starts in 2 weeks. How much marketing have you seen from the teams themselves? Finally, the CDL has released some content, but it's far from great. So just a couple of things before we leave them. Maven and Merk spotted here in the lobby from scrims here. I believe this must be Seattle versus Huntsmen scrims. I can see Kambo on the screen. Seems like Maven and Merk were practicing some casting, so pretty cool to see that. I think Merk, or Maven even maybe talked about this on Twitter slightly afterwards, saying, look, nothing's completely set in stone, but it's likely it's going to be the case. That's why we were just doing some practicing. And just before we finish then, this from Jess Brohage talks about a 2020 update, still in conversations with the league to see if they can get something sorted. But as of now, nothing confirmed. Surprises me really, we're 2 weeks out and a lot of these things haven't been locked in quite yet, but we'll have to see. Supposedly Jess talked a while ago about maybe she was going to step away from Call of Duty, but clearly she wants to still be involved if they have the opportunity there. So I'll leave you guys with this clip. Like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you're new as always. Thanks to Draftbuff for sponsoring the video. I'll leave the links, relevant links to that, down in the description box below, of course. Leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, Jess here, and I just wanted to share with you a little bit of an update on what my 2020 looks like with regards to Call of Duty, since so many of you have been asking me about that. I am still in talks right now with CDL regarding my participation this season. However, as of now, nothing official is on the books. So with that said, I am available for other hosting or interviewing or even content creation opportunities, regardless of if it's for an organization that is participating in CDL or for something outside of Call of Duty, because freelancer, by the way.